My boyfriend told his friends I'm obsessed, all because I asked him a simple question. I never thought a single question could spiral into a full-blown nightmare. But here I am, sitting on my couch with my phone in my hand, staring at messages and social media posts that have shattered the trust I thought we had. The thing is, I didn't do anything dramatic. I just asked him a question I thought any caring partner would answer, and somehow it turned into me being obsessed in front of all his friends. My name is Madeline Carter, and I'm 34 years old. I'm not perfect, but I've always been honest about my feelings. I grew up in a fairly normal household: mom, dad, an older brother, Jake, and me. Mom has always had a tendency to compare us, and Dad tends to stay quiet until something explodes, then he picks a side without listening to both stories. That kind of family dynamic teaches you a lot about restraint and picking your battles, and I thought I'd learned those lessons well, until I met Ethan. Ethan and I met through work. He was charming, funny, and endlessly patient with me, a rare combination I didn't realize I'd been craving. We started casually dating, and after 6 months I thought things were progressing naturally. But there was always this shadow in the back of my mind, a little worry I tried to ignore. He seemed popular in ways I hadn't noticed before, especially with his friends. I brushed it off, thinking that if someone is kind and social, that's a good thing. The problem started with a question I asked over text one Friday evening. I wanted to know where he was, who he was with, and if he'd eaten dinner. Nothing intense, nothing controlling, just normal curiosity. I sent a quick text. "Hey, are you out with your friends? Did you eat?" What I didn't know was that he was sitting in a bar with a group of his closest friends. When he read my message, he chuckled, then showed it to them. One friend laughed. Another nodded, smirking. And before I even realized it, my simple question became a topic of conversation, and not just a casual one. He labeled me out loud in front of his friends. "She's obsessed," he said, smirking. "Every day, texting, calling, checking in. It's kind of funny." I didn't hear it at the time, but his messages to me changed after that. They became short, clipped, almost mocking. I noticed it, and when I asked him about it, he laughed. "Relax, Maddie," he said. "I was just joking, you worry too much." I laughed nervously, not wanting to seem insecure. But inside, something had shifted. That casual joke, meant for his friends, now lingered between us like a shadow. I tried to brush it off, thinking I was overreacting. Maybe I was just being sensitive. Then came the texts from mutual friends. "Haha, Ethan said you're obsessed," one read. Another, "Wow, he really told everyone about your texting habits." I felt my stomach drop. My private thoughts, my genuine concern, had become a source of entertainment. And the worst part? Ethan didn't seem to care that I knew. He just laughed it off every time I brought it up. "I'm not obsessed, Ethan," I finally said one night, sitting on his couch. He looked at me with that infuriating grin. "You are," he said, clearly enjoying my frustration. "You care too much. It's cute sometimes, annoying other times." I felt my hands shake. It's not cute to make me feel humiliated, and you calling me obsessed in front of everyone, that's cruel. He shrugged. "I didn't mean anything by it. Everyone knows you love me. It's harmless." "Harmless?" I echoed, my voice rising. "Do you even understand how that feels? That my private feelings are now a joke to all your friends?" He avoided my eyes. "I didn't think you'd make it a big deal." "That's exactly the problem," I shouted, tears welling up. "You don't take me seriously." The fight escalated from there, messy and raw, full of words I'd later regret. He left the apartment that night without another word. I sat on the floor, trembling, trying to process the mix of anger, hurt, and disbelief. How could someone I loved, someone I trusted, turn my genuine concern into something to laugh about? The next day, I called my brother, Jake. He's always been the one I can rely on. "You have to see it from his side, Maddie," he said, his voice calm but firm. "Maybe he didn't mean it the way you think." "He meant it, Jake," I said, my voice breaking. He laughed. He mocked me to his friends, and now it's not just in my head, I've seen the messages. Jake sighed. "I get it, but what do you want to do? You want him to grovel, to admit you're right?" I didn't know. I just wanted him to understand, to realize how deeply he had hurt me. Over the next few weeks, things between us became tense, awkward, and fragile. He continued joking about it in front of his friends, which only made me withdraw. I found myself questioning everything, my judgment, my relationship, my own worth. If he could mock me like that so casually, what else might he belittle behind my back? Then came the birthday party. His friends invited me, and I went reluctantly. I thought maybe, if I faced the situation, I could handle it. But it was worse than I imagined. One friend leaned over and whispered, "Ethan says you're obsessed again." I excused myself, my face burning. Ethan followed me outside. "Madeline, it's just a joke," he said, trying to laugh it off. "I don't think it's funny, Ethan," I said, trembling. "Do you even care how that feels for me?" He hesitated. I thought you'd see it differently. You're so sensitive sometimes." I shook my head. Sensitive? I'm being treated like a joke, like my feelings don't matter, like I'm some caricature for you and your friends to laugh at. He paused, and for a moment I thought he might apologize. But instead he said, "You're overreacting. Everyone does this. Relax." I walked away. That was the breaking point. The next days were filled with soul-searching and tears. I talked to Mom about it. She was sympathetic, but also pointed out that maybe I should let it go. "You can't control how he behaves," she said. "You can only control yourself." Dad offered little, just a nod and a quiet, "Figure it out, Maddie." And Jake, bless him, was angry on my behalf, saying, "He doesn't deserve you. Anyone who laughs at your heart like that isn't worth your time." I realized he hadn't just disrespected me, he'd exposed a pattern. Every time I cared, he found a way to turn it into a joke, to minimize my feelings, to shift the blame. I felt trapped in a cycle of validation and humiliation. And now I'm at a crossroads. Do I confront him and risk further ridicule? Do I leave and save myself the pain? Or do I stay, hoping he'll eventually see the harm he's caused and chain? This story isn't just about one text or one joke. It's about boundaries, respect, and the way our partners can either protect or harm us, and what we do when someone we love chooses harm. I keep asking myself, am I overreacting, or is this betrayal of trust serious enough to walk away? The days after the birthday party were some of the hardest I've faced in a long time. I couldn't stop replaying the moments in my head. His friends laughing, Ethan smirking, the way everyone seemed to find me funny rather than take my feelings seriously. I started withdrawing, avoiding social events, and spending more time at home. I told myself I was giving him space, but deep down I knew I was trying to protect myself from being humiliated again. One evening, Jake came over unannounced. He noticed immediately that I'd been tense and avoiding phone calls. "Mad, talk to me," he said, sitting on the edge of my couch. I sighed, burying my face in my hands. "I don't know if I can anymore. I thought we had something real, Jake. But every time I care, every time I reach out, he finds a way to make me the joke. And I can't take it." Jake frowned. "So what are you going to do?" "I don't know," I admitted. "If I confront him, it will just make him laugh more. If I leave, I feel like I'm giving up on someone I love." He reached out, squeezing my hand. "You're not giving up, Maddie. You're valuing yourself. Don't let anyone, even someone you love, make you feel invisible or insignificant." His words hit me harder than anything Ethan had ever said. Invisible. That's exactly how I felt, like my emotions didn't matter, like I was just entertainment for someone else's amusement. A few days later, I decided to see him, not at a social gathering, not at a party, but just the two of us. I wanted to have a calm conversation, to express exactly how I felt without the interference of friends or peers. When he opened the door, he smiled. "Hey, Maddie, what's up?" I swallowed hard. "Ethan, we need to talk, seriously." He stepped aside, letting me in. I took a deep breath. "I can't keep feeling like my feelings are a joke to you, that when I care, you and your friends think it's funny. I'm done laughing along. I'm done feeling embarrassed for loving you." He paused, his expression unreadable. "Mad, I didn't realize it hurt you that much." "It should hurt me that much," I said, my voice shaking. "It's not just about the jokes. It's about respect, about trust. Every time you laugh at me, it's like you're saying my emotions are worth less than your amusement." He looked down at his hands. I thought it was harmless. I thought you'd take it as a joke. It's not harmless if it hurts me, I replied firmly. And it does, every single time. I'm not going to pretend it doesn't. He swallowed. I didn't know. I'll try to be better. I wanted to believe him. I really did. But I'd been down this road before, he said words, but actions were what mattered. And for the past few weeks, his actions had consistently shown a lack of care for my feelings. I realized then that I had a choice. Either continue to endure this emotional roller coaster or step away and protect myself. For the first time, I understood that leaving someone you love doesn't mean you stop loving them. Sometimes it means you finally start loving yourself. That night, I told him gently but firmly, I need space. I need to see if you're willing to respect me and my feelings, not just say the right things. If not, I can't stay in this. He looked stricken. Maddie, please don't go. I'll do better, I promise. I hope you do, I said softly, but I need to see it, not just hear it. I left that night with a mix of relief and heartbreak. Relief because I finally set a boundary, heartbreak because it still hurt to walk away from someone I cared about deeply. Over the next few weeks, I reflected a lot on my family and the way I'd been raised. Mom always had a way of downplaying my feelings, comparing them to my brothers or to Rebecca, making me feel like I was overreacting. Dad, as usual, was silent until he decided to intervene, usually siding with whoever he thought had the better argument. And Jake had always been my anchor, the one who reminded me that my feelings were valid and that I deserved respect. It occurred to me that this wasn't just about Ethan. It was about every moment in my life where my voice had been minimized, where my emotions had been dismissed, and where I had internalized the idea that caring too much was a flaw rather than a strength. I spent the next month focusing on myself, work, friends, therapy, hobbies I'd neglected. I reconnected with people who valued me for who I was, not for the entertainment I could provide. I started journaling, writing down every thought and emotion, every moment I'd been made to feel small. And slowly, I began to understand that my worth was independent of how someone else treated me. Then came the unexpected message. Ethan had texted. Can we talk? I realize I've hurt you more than I thought, and I want to make it right. I stared at it for hours. Part of me wanted to respond immediately, to rush to him and demand he prove his words. But another part of me, the wiser part, the one I'd cultivated over weeks of reflection, told me to pause. I realized that this situation wasn't just about Ethan. It was about self-respect, about recognizing patterns, and about refusing to accept behavior that undermined my emotional well-being. I had to decide if this relationship was truly healthy, or if it was just another example of what I'd tolerated in my past. And that's where I sit now, torn between my feelings and my logic. I love him, I really do, but I also love myself, and I cannot allow love to come at the cost of humiliation, disregard, or disrespect. I share this story because I know I'm not the only one who's ever had their feelings minimized, turned into a joke, or dismissed by someone they trusted. It's messy, it's painful, and it challenges everything you thought you knew about love and loyalty. So now I ask anyone reading this, do you stay and hope for change, risking further hurt, or do you walk away to protect yourself, even if it means letting go of someone you love?